public funding. So even, I mean, maybe the basic research is taking place in the US is happening in the institutes which is funded with public money. So it's unfortunate that the people in the US have to pay huge amounts of money to buy a drug for which they have already paid for the research.
As a taxpayer?
Through the taxpayers' money. So,
हाँ जी, I'm stopping you here. आपने बहुत सारे विषय अभी हमने चर्चा का बहुत सारे विषय हैं, and we need to discuss this whole issue of who funds research, how is research funded, how is innovation protected, you know, and this whole issue about reverse engineering. You know, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. One man's meat is another man's poison. So too, one man's innovator is another person's, you know, intellectual property thief or reverse engineer. 1 minute, we take a break. Yeah. I'm going to ask you these questions. I'm going to ask you to explain what these issues mean. Explain in a language in which those who are watching you, those who are viewing you can understand. I'll get back to both of you. The implications of the Supreme Court's decision on the 2nd of April denying patent protection to Novartis for its anti-cancer drug called Glivec, which is described as a historic judgment. It has huge implications. We'll be back with you in a short while from now. Stay with us. Which is used to treat certain forms of leukemia, certain forms of gastrointestinal cancers, and some very rare kind of tumors, cancerous tumors. They're saying that the company was entitled to a patent, or so it believes, because the new version of Glivec has changed the original patented compound, and the original patented compound was not suitable for making it in the form of a pill or a tablet. And they say that developing the final chemistry, the final chemically stable form of the medical formulation took many years, took a lot of money, a lot of hard work, a lot of research, and it was really this effort that made this drug Glivec into a life-saving anti-cancer medicine, for which the company should be given its due. I mean, that's the gist of their argument. Yes.
Well, I would say it's a lot of hocus pocus. Every drug is a chemical, and you have to make it druggable. And when you
what do you mean by druggable?
Druggable means that, you know, actually medicines originate in actual chemicals, petrochemicals actually. You're not going to just ingest the chemical in your body. To take that chemical into a form, that a medicine that you can safely ingest, is something that all pharma companies have to do. And many of the steps are now known. Previously, 30 years ago, we didn't know which salts we could choose, which would be more stable. You had to use a crystal form, and of course you had to use a prodrug to make it more, you know, to make it viable for your body, your blood to absorb it. These things 30 years ago were much less known. Now we know all of these steps.
So
now
you're
at
saying
every
that
step you want a patent of something that is already known in pharmaceutical science is just not possible. I think this is the hocus pocus that Novartis is trying to pull over everyone's eyes.
But tell me, you are using very strong language, but what people like Mr. Ranjit Shahani, who's the managing director of Novartis India, hepatitis C treatment drug Pegasus, all these companies have also lost their patented status in India, and they are all conducting these legal battles to have these decisions reversed. Yes, please.
I would like to say that, you know, there is a crisis in R&D, irrespective of how many patents you grant. We are in a situation where drugs for malaria, drugs for TB, new antibiotics that we need for drug-resistant forms of infections are just not being invested into. And this is not nothing to do with India. This is the whole R&D system which has been dependent on the patent system, which has led to this crisis. It's a market-driven system where if you have rich enough people who can pay you thousands of dollars every month for the treatment, you invest in that. You invest in a lot of medicines like Viagra, which may not be useful at all.
Or AIDS, or and you don't spend enough on malaria and dysentery and leprosy and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
But that's in a sense reflecting the class character of the world that we live in and this country that we live in.
Absolutely.
The rich are the powerful. The rich ensure that R&D is done for their benefit and not the problems of the underprivileged.
Absolutely. And the other issue fundamentally is this, that majority of the drugs that do indeed show some action against infectious tropical diseases are actually abandoned by these companies like Novartis and others in their very labs. So Glaxo, Abbott, Pfizer, the entire pharmaceutical industry has been abandoning.
The big pharma.
Big Pharma has been abandoning research which shows action against such diseases. In fact, MSF had to invest its money in after 1999 when we won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Organization.
Absolutely, we invested money. The first thing we did was invest money in R&D. And today you can see Drugs for Neglected Diseases Initiative is rolling out combination therapy for malaria, is rolling out therapy for leishmaniasis, and hopefully will take the next step of going into new drug research.
All right.
That's the big step that we have to take for ourselves as a country.
Of a known compound, but when you look at this new form of Glivec, the new compound, it has already received patents in 40 countries, and these countries include not just the United States, but includes China, includes Russia. So have our laws been excessively tight, and therefore
in India, these people talk about R&D, but none of the big pharmaceutical companies invest even 1% in R&D so far. What they invest is really small amounts of money on clinical trials, and that's only
and that's because India is a huge country, it has a huge population.
Very cheap to do clinical trials
That's
here.
fine. Large numbers of people are not that well educated,
Yes.
illiterate.
So very little regulation, no
Yes,
rules.
I mean that's we also know how the Supreme Court has come down very, very hard on the manner in which clinical
In fact, we are subsidizing the clinical trials in India and then having the drugs patented on top of that. So yes, patients in India are actually part of clinical trials which lead to new drugs, but necessarily if we are going to have access to them, those are going to be blocked by patents.
So what you are arguing is that India has a relatively inexpensive, but it is relatively inexpensive for a giant pharmaceutical multinational company to conduct clinical trials in India. But the benefits of those clinical trials, when come in the form of new drugs and new pharmaceutical compounds, don't come to this country.
Yeah, there's no absolutely post-trial access doesn't exist. And majority of the new medicines that are in the pipeline, and I can give you an example of hepatitis C, are patented. HIV are
Essential drugs which have been listed by the World Health Organization are off patent. So are we really cribbing about a few drugs which are used by the super rich? Or are we talking about really public health and medicines for large numbers of people?
See, let's look at India's disease profile. We are what they call a transitioning economy. We have both the rich country diseases as well as the poor country diseases. So you have people still dying of diarrhea, but you also have people
Obesity
dying
and
Yes.
hypertension,
hypertension,
and
heart
diabetes.
disease, cancers, all of it is happening too. So we need both. And we cannot afford to say that since we have the off-patent medicines which will work for diarrhea and dysentery and whatever, so we don't need to worry about the cancer drugs which are coming into the market or the heart disease drugs meant for cardiovascular diseases. We need both equally.
All right.
So we cannot afford to ignore the fact that those are being patented.
There's another issue. People have forgotten history. The 2000 AIDS epidemic crisis that happened, majority of the AIDS drugs were under patent.
I'll tell you
Number
what,
of now
I'll tell you
developing
what.
countries.
Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Let's talk about what happened in 2008, the AIDS epidemic
2000.
that we, and then let's also talk about how India's laws have evolved over time. You know how the Indian Patent Act has been amended.
Yes.
The whole issue of once we had process patents, then we have product patents, and let's look at this whole issue in innovation and incentives for innovation in greater detail. I mean, I was told that everybody cannot be like Alexander Fleming, who having invented penicillin says, okay, it's God's gift to humankind. I don't want any share of the profits. But I think most people are not like
No,
Alexander Fleming.
Medicine or a diagnostic, pay compensation. Pay compensation. But the compensatory model is not something that pharma companies like themselves. So they don't like licensing. They basically want to stop everyone else from making the drug at more affordable prices. And they want to keep that monopoly with themselves. And why? Because it leads to massive abuses on pricing. You can charge
All right.
for a drug that costs absolutely nothing to produce, a few rupees to produce. You can charge $2,000 for it.
You wanted to say something, Rama?
Yes, most importantly, the drug companies, pharma industry as a whole, they keep complaining कि हम इतने $billion पे खर्च कर रहे हैं, हमारा कितना नुकसान हो रहा है. अगर इतना नुकसान हो रहा है, तो how come कि as an industry, they are the second most profitable industry in the whole world.
Which is the most profitable?
Oil.
Oh, I see.
So they are second only to
the
oil.
The rest of the world may be going through a recession or economic slowdown.
They never have a recession.
Right.
Their profits are never affected during a recession. तो अगर इतना नुकसान हो रहा है R&D में खर्च करने से, तो फिर प्रॉफिट कहाँ से आ रहा है ये सारे?
Okay. I think
to add to that, अगर आप देखें the $1 billion myth, हम $1 billion डालते
अभी
हैं,
कहा ये सरकारी पैसा.
यहाँ सरकारी पैसा है. अगर आप एक साल में टर्नओवर देखिए मेडिसिन का 3-4 बिलियन तो ऐसे ही निकल जा रहे हैं. मतलब पिछले 10 साल से जो ये दवाइयां बेच रही
आपका
है.
क्या कहना है कि ये जो ट्रेड रिलेटेड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट ट्रिप्स एग्रीमेंट जो है WTO में, ये 20 साल के लिए मोनोपोली देते हैं या 20 साल के ज्यादा नहीं है? इज इट नॉट adequate enough time to recover the money that has been invested in research and development?
I think firstly, pharma companies try and hide how much they've really invested, what tax breaks they've got for it, who has helped them make the drug. All of these issues are very hidden in secrecy. There's no transparency.
In fact, अगर आप इतना खर्च कर रहे हैं and you're proud about the fact that you're spending so much for humanity, जैसे वो लोग बोलते हैं कि
For the poor. When you look at the whole issue of the point that Rama made earlier, how is it that pharmaceutical companies are raking it in when most others are not? So let's look at the wider implications of this judgment and what it means for the future of public health in India. I'll get back to both of you. We'll continue this discussion. We are looking at the implications of the Supreme Court decision of the 2nd of April in the Novartis case. The Swiss multinational was denied a patent protection for its drug Glivec, on the ground that it had evergreen, that it was not novel enough, it was not efficacious enough. So we are looking at the implications of this judgment on public health in India. We'll be back with you. Stay with us. Leena Menghani of Doctors Without Frontiers, Raman Nagarajan of the Times of India. Leena, what the Supreme Court has said clearly is that it's not actually stopping people from patenting new forms. Correct me if I'm wrong. Although this judgment has been sought to be painted as one opposed to patents or opposed to intellectual property rights, the question is, where do we go from here? Will this judgment really make a difference? Will the large pharmaceutical companies now be a little more, I should say, sensitive towards the requirements of large numbers of poor people? Will they ensure that medicines are available at a low price? Or will the reverse happen, that they actually run away from India and at the end of the day, the people of this country suffer?
दो मुद्दे हैं. डेफिनेटली अगर आप हमारे पेशेंट्स को देखिए, वी हैव मोर देन 2 लाख पेशेंट्स को ट्रीट करते हैं डॉक्टर्स विदाउट बॉर्डर्स में, पीपल लिविंग विद HIV. 8 मिलियन पीपल हैं जो HIV से हैं, जी रहे हैं और इंडियन जेनेरिक्स पे डिपेंडेंट हैं. बहुत सारी कंपनियों ने ऐसे ही पेटेंट अप्लाई किए थे HIV मेडिसिन पे. वी हैव बीन फाइटिंग दोस पेटेंट एप्लीकेशंस, वो रिजेक्ट भी हो रही हैं एंड थैंक गॉड सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने केस लॉ ऐसा सेट किया है कि ये कंपनियां जो HIV मेडिसिन के ऊपर पेटेंट चाहती हैं उनको नहीं मिलेंगे. वेरी गुड जजमेंट. बहुत लोगों की जानें बचेंगी इस
देखिए ऐसे और भी बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस अभी चल रहे हैं. जैसे फाइजर का केस चल रहा है, सुटेंट, रोश का केस चल रहा है, हेपेटाइटिस C के एक दवाई पेगासिस, और भी बहुत सारे हैं. आपको शायद मालूम है, हमें इतना जानकारी नहीं है. How will they be impacted? How will these legal disputes get impacted by this Supreme Court decision?
Well, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यही कहा है कि आप इफ यू कैनॉट शो इन्वेंटिव स्टेप, अगर आप ये नहीं दिखा सकते कि थेरेप्यूटिक दिस गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, दिस इज अ रूल दैट विल बी अप्लाइड बाय ऑल पेटेंट ऑफिसेस एंड बाय ऑल द हाई कोर्ट्स.
ओके,
वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो सारे कैंसर मेडिसिन, HIV मेडिसिन जिसके ऊपर पैटेंट डिस्प्यूट चल रहे हैं उसके ऊपर इम्पैक्ट पड़ना है. नंबर 2, आई वांटेड टू से दिस कि इंडिया का सिस्टम बहुत अच्छा है एंड दूसरे डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए. अगर बहुराष्ट्रीय कंपनियां यहाँ से भाग जाती हैं, अपनी दवाइयां नहीं लाती हैं, हमारे पास इतनी टेक्नोलॉजी है कि वी कैन स्टेप अप एंड मेक द सेम मेडिसिन at absolutely a fraction of the cost that they sell at. So if they are bullying us और ये कह रहे हैं कि हम नहीं बनाएंगे दवाई इंडिया के लिए, Indian industry can step up and do the job.
All right. Rama, if I ask you to look at the big picture, at one level, you know, India is the second most populous nation state on this planet. We have a pretty big, by our standards, $13 billion market for drugs. This is growing maybe at 10%, 12%, some would say 13, 14%. But in terms of the size of the market here, we are very small. We are, I think, 14th or 13th or 14th if you look at worldwide. One level, international companies look on India as a market. But we are also, you know, I mean, we may have produced 1 out of 3 computer software engineers on the planet, but 1 out of 3 persons in the world who's unwell is also a person from India, who's undernourished is also from India. So when you look at this judgment in the bigger context of public health in India, what are your observations?
It's really important for public health because one of the biggest expenditure in health is on medicines. In fact, I mean, if you look at any of the statistics being churned out by the government, about 70% of what a person spends on their health is on medicines.
And unlike in the US, where most of the healthcare is provided by the government, it's the other way around in India. Am I correct?
Yes,
the
because
private sector,
people pay
what
for
is
their...
the proportion? 90-10 or something like that?
No, for us right now it is about 70-30.
70-30. So 70 is private.
Poverty stricken because of health expenditure. तो इसलिए हमको सोचना चाहिए कि medicines का price has to be kept low, has to be affordable, and ideally should be provided by the government.
So in that sense, you would say this is a landmark judgment and we shouldn't be overly concerned if some representatives of large pharmaceutical companies are cribbing.
Yes, it is important for us, and also we have to think beyond our own borders that India is also important for the developing world.
Because
हमारे जैसे बहुत सारे और देश हैं जहाँ पे they are depending on India for drugs.
In fact, in one of the few areas where India is bigger than China is in its production of
Yes.
pharmaceutical products, notably generic drugs. Am I
Generic
correct?
drugs, yes.
So large parts of the developing world, countries of Africa and other parts of Asia, are dependent on cheap generic medicines produced by Indian pharmaceutical companies like Cipla and so on and so forth. Am I correct?
And also we shouldn't forget, Paranjay, that 18% of the population, that is Europe and America put together, 18% of the population, सिर्फ 18% लोग हैं who are interested in, you know, intellectual property, who want to push intellectual property because it all belongs to them.
But how do you arrive at this proportion of 18%?
18% is supposed to be the population of Europe and America put together, of the world
Okay,
population.
yeah, sure. So you're saying this
So
is
the rest of the world, which lives in these two sections that we are talking about, they are not interested in this, you know, intellectual property regime that is being pushed upon the rest of the world. तो बाकी देशों में Brazil, China, India, South Africa, all these countries, the so-called BRICS countries जिसको बोलते हैं, they are actually together trying to fight this kind of a property regime, intellectual property regime, कि इस तरह का पेटेंटिंग नहीं होना चाहिए, इस तरह का इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी रेजिम नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि इट इज नॉट गुड फॉर 80% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. ये 20% के वजह से 80% हैज टू सफर. दैट डजंट सीम फेयर.
Okay. I'll let you have the last.
That its own industry produces. And I think you have put the point, and I totally agree with you, that the challenge is up to the Ministry of Health to expand access to public health care. Number two, I wanted to say this. The more patents you grant, the less domestic production of medicines you will have. And this is the lesson we've learned from other countries. Other countries cannot domestically produce medicines because they have too high standards of intellectual property. So if India wants to continue making medicines for its 1 billion people and for the rest of the developing world, and wants to continue to be called the pharmacy of the developing world, कि हम pharmacy हैं पूरे developing countries के लिए, then they have to keep some flexibility
Not
in
just
the
the
patent
call
system.
center capital of the world, but
Absolutely.
also the pharmaceutical capital.
Yes, the pharmacy of the developing world.
All right, Leena, thank you so much for coming here to the studio of Lok Sabha Television, giving us your views. Rama, thank you very much for coming here. And I think those who've heard you and watched you would have benefited and learned from this discussion. And thank you very much for being with us on this program. We've discussed the bigger public health implications of the 2nd of April Supreme Court decision in what has been come to be called or described as the Novartis case, a case in which a Switzerland-based multinational was denied protection for one of its cancer anti-cancer drugs on the ground that there was no, it was not novel enough, not efficacious enough, and it was a case of what is called evergreening of patents. Thank you so much for being with us on this program.